p.m. Thursday, February 27th. Going to go live for just 20-30 minutes. Then, obviously, over on Awesemo, those people have their shows going on, Lofty, Adam, and all them. But I'm going to go live here, so we're going to talk NBA. Don't usually go live for the NBA just because it's a daily thing, and there's lots of competition for the NBA as opposed to NFL, and believe it or not, NFL and XFL on the weekend live streams, and also a lot more influx of people's interests. But with that said, I'm just watching that we are live on Twitch, we are live on YouTube. I'm not positive if we're live on Sportscaster, which was a big reason why I wanted to do this, so that's a little bit annoying. But what's going on, Matthew? How you doing? Arthur, Dodger, what's going on? I do not believe that we're live on Sportscaster. That is, I would say, annoying, to say the least. But we should keep going here. So what's going on, Mike? How's everybody doing? Do you think AD will play? Yeah, he's probable, so nothing changes there. Cool. Yeah, so nothing changes with AD. He's probable. He should be all good to go. Everything should be good there. Fox possibly being out is something. Yeah, it is. And we can pull up what can possibly happen depending on Fox being out. Really, just if you just want to do a quick query search on Wowie, you're going to have to take off a couple of people here depending on what you really want to pop up. The main one will just be seeing what happens when Fox goes off. I guess really not much else matters. We can take off Bagley and Holmes as you usually would. They're going to be out. They matter a good amount for what you're going to be trying to pull here. Not much else really matters too much. With this team, we could take Dwayne Dedman off as well. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Yeah. What's up, Alex? How you doing? A live stream is way better than hearing about the stocks falling. Do you think AD plays? Yeah, I think AD plays. So the stocks are falling with the coronavirus? Yeah, I mean, I think AD plays. He was deemed... Has anything changed since last night that I missed? He is deemed right now probable. I mean, if you think that it's just a full-on onslaught of just letting the Lakers guys sit, then maybe, but yeah. I think he's going to play. So, usage rate, it's going to be... So, Buddy Hield's minutes are just an issue right now. I don't want to play him, but if Fox is out, it's going to be hard not to at least like him. You'll probably see a little bit of run for Justice James off the bench. You'll see more stable 30-minute production from Kemp Bazemore if Fox is out. So, this is the what-if scenario. Bogdan becomes obviously a bigger piece, and then if Corey Joe draws the start, I would imagine he would ahead of Yogi Ferrell. It would probably be Corey Joe being the biggest bump up, and I would imagine it leads to just more Buddy Hield minutes, but they've been a little bit of an issue right now there. Yeah, you don't usually do I'm trying to do at least one to two more streams of NBA, probably just one a week at this point, and trying to go live for those. And obviously, I'm picking and choosing like the 4-game slate tonight compared to a massive slate tomorrow night. It's just easier for me to digest right now. On my other screen right here, I do have the projections, my projections that are on Patreon right now, pulled up. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy on these streams once a week to answer any questions that you have. Over my shoulder is a target offense sheet. I did project the Golden State and Lakers total this morning, so the spread is correct as of this morning. The total can be completely off. I was projecting it myself at 219.5 based on just a little algorithm that I run. It's usually within a couple of points unless something major has changed. Well, like LeBron being out, so that can definitely affect it. Fade Rondo, question mark? Yeah, there's no way I'm going to fade Rondo. Rondo is going to be somebody that, on a 4-game slate, I mean, for the people who want to compare him to Jakob Poeltl yesterday, nowhere near the same. Jakob Poeltl was not deemed the starter. Rondo is probably going to start. Jakob Poeltl, you had 4 minutes to get your lineups changed, and luckily I was looking at my phone at the right time to see that he wasn't starting and get the Trey Lyles, which didn't end up being really all that much of a difference. But yeah, Rondo right now is by far my greatest value play on the slate. He's $3,500, and I have him for over 30 fantasy points tonight. So, yeah, and this is obviously projecting he starts. I have him at 28 minutes. Hey, Sal, do you prefer CJ McCollum over Sabonis? I mean, if you want to know median projection-wise, I guess I can look at ownership, and I don't really have ownership at this point pulled up. So, let me just pull up some ownership numbers. But right now, if we're talking pure point projections, I have Sabonis for 0.36 more fantasy points than CJ McCollum. So it'll come down to ownership. Whichever one is lower owned at that point is probably where I will end up going. It's just really as simple as that at that point. And we have a lot of time to obviously figure out what the projections are going to be on ownership on those guys, but it's a coin flip for them. Right now, I'd imagine that you might see lower ownership on Sabonis just because of having also Whiteside as a center at a similar price point. I would think that their ownerships probably rival each other. So if the ownerships are like within 5 percentage points of each other, then it's really just a coin flip. I don't really have a strong stance on McCollum or Sabonis at this point. They both grade out for fine points right now. Long time since you went live. I went live on Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, I've been going live every single weekend for the XFL and then the NFL before that. So every single Sunday has been a live stream. Saturdays now as well with the XFL. And then, yeah, it would be nice to get one live stream in a week on these smaller 4 to 6 game slates for the NBA. Maybe take it to 2 later on. Yeah, this slate isn't that great. I see somebody said, do you like Shake and Korkmaz? I like them both. I much prefer Shake Milton. He's just a more productive player, a higher usage player in a small sample without Simmons and Embiid on the court, a bigger sample without Simmons. He just looks like the better player overall. Sal, being that they will be super chalk, how do you feel about fading the Sixers players? There's no shot on a 4-game slate that I'm fading them. Like coming in under the percentages, Al Horford's 52% owned. There's a good chance he's in 100% of my lineups or close to it. Tobias Harris at 7,500 is somebody that you can get away from more, but he's also not that highly owned. He's going to be in like a third of the field's lineups tonight on a 4-game slate, and he's the best 7K option. He might be the best 8K option when you talk about point per dollar wise. 7 and 8K in that range, and even 6K. So yeah, I think that you can get away from Richardson at 30%. I don't think he's a bad play, but if you're just talking about them being chalky, Horford's a guy I'm not getting away from. Harris at his ownership, I'm fine with. And a guy like Josh Richardson, I'm okay getting away from him. And then the rest of the guys aren't all that chalky. Like I thought Shake Milton would come in higher owned. He's not right now. Same things can be said for other guys on that team, like Korkmaz. And really that's where it starts to become not really interested in anybody else. Somebody asks fade Rondo. Not for me. I'm not going to fade Rondo. I'll probably have 100%. As long as he starts, right? And that's the risk, is that he doesn't play till later on. But like, who's going to start over him? Caruso, right? So I'll just get to Alex Caruso instead if you want to take that chance. And they're similarly priced guys. If they had a weird lineup going out there, which it's going to either be Caruso or Rondo, I mean, I'm pretty damn sure, like 99% it's going to be Rondo, more so than I would be sure of even last night's with Jacopoto. So yeah, what player do you think is a lock for today? Rondo. If you're going to 100% anybody on a 4-game slate, it would be Rondo today. Look, I mean, in 20 minutes of production, he would be a fine play at his price point. And that's even if LeBron was in, if you can tell me that he was going to get 20 minutes. With LeBron out, he's going to get 24 minutes, and that's even if it's off the bench. And I have him at 28, and that's a low number if he starts. Markieff Morris isn't a player pool for me. I only have him at 18 minutes tonight, but he still looks good. The issue, though, is that you don't know what the minutes are going to be. Like, just because... So he played 15 in his debut, but just because LeBron is out does not mean that automatically is great for Markieff Morris. That more so does not affect the front court, where Markieff Morris would be playing at the 4, where Anthony Davis and Kyle Kuzma are going to rotate in. Kuzma more so at the 3 now, but yeah, Markieff Morris looks fine at the price point. If you told me he played 20-plus minutes, I'd love it, but I'm not too certain of that. Do you feel comfortable jamming in Horford, Tobias Harris, and Richardson? Yeah, I have no issues with it. I'll have lineups like that. It's not going to be, I would say, like a priority for me to get to those 3 in the same lineup. But if you're playing one lineup, there's nothing wrong with that. How about Corey Joseph as value if Fox is out? Yeah, if he starts, right? If he starts, he looks like fine value. I mean, what's his price point right now? His price point is... I don't know what this is doing. Corey Joe is 3,100. Yeah, it'll be fantastic value, and then you could get him and Rondo in your lineups depending on if any news comes out. AD has been on the injury report all season. He plays, yeah, of course, and especially when they say he's probable, that's almost a guarantee that he's played every single time. Even though Kuzma is power forward center eligible, could get minutes at small forward also. I agree. Worried about the Lakers Golden State blowout at risking killing AD at all? Not at 10-3, no. So like I said, Rondo's a lock. There's just so many guys who look really good on the slate. AD being another one of them, of course, when there's really no pay-up options. Look, the game can blow out. AD's in 28. If you told me AD gets 28 minutes today, I would not like him nearly as much, but I think he can still get you there. He's over a 1.5 guy with LeBron off the court. His usage rate is clearly the highest at 35%. All these games have wide spreads, and a lot of that is because there's studs out. So yeah, I'm not too worried about the blowout factoring AD all that much. It's definitely something you can wait, but then you would have to wait it for every single one of these games pretty much, and it's just a net neutral at that point. If Fox is out, would you prioritize the most? Bogdan, then Joseph? It would depend on the starting lineup. If you kept getting Buddy Hield off the bench, it doesn't really matter too much for him. He probably picks up an extra couple of minutes, and he has the highest usage rate, but this is now a different type of system with Buddy Hield playing off the bench and just not getting the minutes and having some sort of fit with the coach. But I would prioritize whoever started. If it was $3,100 Corey Joseph, that would look good. Bogdan, Buddy Hield, see slight bumps as well. And we have the numbers right here. So usage rate, it's going to go to Buddy Hield. You're not going to see a lot of usage for a guy like Corey Joseph. He's just never a high usage player. He just gets more minutes. He's a 14% usage guy in 300 minutes with Fox off the court. So yeah, 3,100, he's going to look good if he plays 30 plus minutes, of course, on a 4-game slate. Especially if that news comes out later and he's not going to be highly owned, then Corey Joseph starts to look nice. But it's just tough to really judge this team. Corey Joe at 3,100 would be your safe bet if he starts. If you ended up getting Buddy Hield rejoining the rotation, that looks good. In almost 200 minutes, Bogdan has a 24% usage rate. So yeah, it would depend on the starting lineup. If Corey Joe started, I'd go Corey Joe, then Bogdan in priorities there. If Buddy Hield rejoined the starting rotation for some reason, I really don't know who they would be putting at the point at that point. So that's when it starts to get a little bit concerning. I would go there though. Hey Sal, would you have a problem fading AD? I mean, it depends how many lineups you're playing. If you're playing 150, then getting I don't know, he's going to probably come in like half the field's lineups tonight. He should probably come in more. So fading AD, if he comes in at 50, 60% owned, I would want more on a 4-game slate. If he was to come in like 80% owned, well, then there's other outs. You do have Hassan Whiteside who has 60-point upside. You do have Sabonis who has 50, and you've seen the 60-plus point upside that McCollum has. So there are other outs, but like those guys are also going to be owned 1. In 2, he's not 80% owned. So Frank Ntilikina ruled out. All right, already was projecting for that. I can't find a lineup I like with all the cap used today. That's fair. Then leave some salary. It's all good. Any interest in Mitch Rob with no Embiid? No, I know he played 30 minutes. The Knicks had one of the weirdest rotations I've ever seen yesterday, and I'll pull it up here. They had one of the weirdest rotations that you will ever see, and I'm just going to throw it out and just say that there was nothing to it. This was a close game against Charlotte, and they ended up not playing. Randall for the final 14 minutes of the game. He didn't even step on the court in the fourth quarter. This is what this orange bar means. He only played 25 total minutes for a guy averaging 33 per game this year. Mitch Rob played 30 minutes. He actually closed out the final 19 minutes of the game. Mitch Rob did. You're not going to get that all that much. So yeah, Mitch Rob I have for about 23 minutes today. He doesn't look like that good of a play. There being no Embiid is still bad if Horford's starting at the 5 for Mitch Rob. And it's really bad because Horford's not a traditional center. Neither is Embiid, but Horford definitely is not. I mean, Embiid will hang around the basket when he can, when there's no Simmons on the court. Horford primarily likes to just hang at the point or at the elbow. That's like his whole game for his whole entire career. Sabonis is overpriced. I disagree, especially on a 4-game slate. He's been at this 9K price point for a while. I mean, you can either go game log watch in games that don't blow out or whatever it is. Sabonis plays 18 minutes to 20 minutes in the first half, and if the game stays close, he's playing 36 to 40 minutes in the game, and he's a 1.25 fantasy point per minute producer. Not overpriced by any means today, especially on a 4-game slate. 9,100 is a fair price point for him, because if he was 8,800, he'd be underpriced, so I think it's a fair price point. Is Kuzma center eligible? I can tell you in 2 seconds. Kuzma is... Where am I looking? Kuzma's power forward center eligible, yes. Jay Rich or Milton, who is the better value for you right now? The better value for me right now between Jay Rich and Milton, just point per dollar grading out value, it is Jay Rich, but it's not by much, and Milton is... Actually, it's Milton. It's Milton, and he's lower owned, so whatever that means for you. I have Milton as my 3rd overall play in the slate today. I have Jay Rich as my 6th. So they're close, but one of them is going to end up being twice the ownership as the other one. Fade Davis, not something I want to do. Kuzma 8X night. Kuzma is really cheap. I mean, 8X is in his back pocket at $4,000, 32 fantasy points, no doubt about it. Shaker Rondo on FanDuel. Give me Rondo. There's no way to fade Davis tonight. There's just no other options. If you told me that Luka was on the slate, sure. If you told me that Harden or Westbrook or one other guy, his teammate LeBron was on the slate, sure. But what are your options? You drop off then to Sabonis as your next pay-up option with all the injuries. It's such a wide gap that you're locking in 45 fantasy points as a floor for Davis right now for me. And that is the projection that I have on Sabonis and McCollum and close for a guy like Whiteside. So if all the other pay-up options are the floor for the guy that I'm projecting above them, it's hard for me to get away from it. Yeah, obviously, can the game blow out? Can you get into foul trouble? Can they just not play him a lot because they don't care? They're resting LeBron. Just let AD coast through for, 14 minutes a half, maybe. But it's hard to really try and project in all the what-if scenarios right now and not play it straight up. Fade Horford back-to-back limited minutes? No, not for me. He's been good on all these back-to-backs. Short Sleep donates $2 to the stream. I appreciate that. Yeah, if you want any of my if you want my projections over on Patreon, you can check them out. They're linked up down below. Fantasy Draft, you should check out Fantasy Draft if you play cash games right now. It's linked down below as well. You can click the link, check out their lobby for today. They have a pick and roll contest, which is like 2x your min cash and then 13% the first. It's really balanced payout structures. But if you're playing cash, you just have no rig, so you should be getting your cash games down over there. Morris or Kuzma or both? I prefer Kuzma. Kuzma's going to ball AD injured. AD has been injured for 3 years straight then if you think he's injured. Do you like any of the Thunder guys tonight? None of them are priorities, but when you factor in that they're probably not going to be owned, they start to become interesting. Schroeder's my favorite of the Thunder guys. And it's pretty wild that, like, Schroeder's picking up some ownership, but they're really not getting all that owned. Like, relative to the other guys, they're maybe in the top 10 of ownership tonight, but nowhere near top 5 just because of some of the other underpriced guys who have injuries on their team. And that's the main reason it's hard to like them. They're all healthy. They're all appropriately priced outside of probably Schroeder. So Schroeder's my favorite. Everybody likes getting to Gallo every single night. I'm not really on him too much tonight. Danny Green, big minutes. I have him for 26 minutes tonight. It just makes him and KCP and all those guys just look like meh. Like, one of them can get there, but you're flipping a coin on which one ends up making 3 threes instead of 0 or 1. Turner or Chris and GPP or both? I would prefer Turner, but I'm not that much into either of them tonight. What about Gary Trent or Chris? I would prefer Chris there, but it's also a decent price difference. How would you rank the OKC starters? I'll let you know right now. I would rank the OKC starters as... Let me pull up OKC. I'd rank the OKC starters as in... So, Nerlens Noel would be my favorite play from OKC overall. He's not a starter, so I'm just throwing that out there to start it. But I would rank them as Schroeder, Gallo, Chris Paul, Alexander, and Adams in that order. Which Lakers center for value? I mean, if you're considering AD a center, him. If not, then Dwight Howard. Kuzma or Horford? Horford. Richardson and Oladipo or Korkmaz and Hield? Richardson and Oladipo, but yeah, I'm not big on Oladipo if I grade out players right now. So the issue for you there is both Oladipo and Hield look pretty bad unless Fox gets ruled out, and that opens up some more for Hield. But Oladipo right now for me ranks out as my 58th play on the slate tonight. That's not good on a 4-game slate where my player pool is only like 35 players, so he's not even in it. And Hield ranks out as my 46th play. So both of them look pretty bad tonight. Korkmaz and Richardson are in my player pool. As of right now, Hield and Oladipo are not. RJ or J Rich? J Rich for me. Do you like any of the Warriors or Knicks players tonight as pivot options? My favorite Knicks player would be... No, not really. Like, Mo Harkless grades out as my 20th play on point per dollar wise, but in terms of getting to him, he's not a player pool. I took him out of there. So, no, Golden State and the Knicks aren't looking good. I have Wiggins as my 19th overall play, so Wiggins looks okay as a contrarian option. The Knicks, I don't think I have a single Knick in my player pool right now. Yeah, I don't have a single Knick in my player pool. The only Golden State guys that are in there are Damian Lee. I think he has GPP upside, especially if off of a pivot, off of a non-chalky, but at least top 15 in ownership. That's not that crazy on a 4-game slate. But Damian Lee looks okay as a pivot off of guys like Schroeder, maybe Carmelo. So Damian Lee from Golden State's in my player pool. Marquise Chris is in my player pool. These are guys that are barely making it in, though. And then my favorite would be Wiggins. He's my 19th overall play. So on a 4-game slate, that means I'm not really all there. Hey, Sal, off topic. Are you still doing your classes where you teach us how to be a better DFS player? I don't have one for the NBA, like a course. I have one for the NFL. I didn't do one for the NBA. Just timing wise, the opportunity cost of me spending days and weeks on the course just didn't make sense for me right now. It didn't make sense as it did for the NFL when I had the whole off season doing that during the MLB and WNBA, which is a lot less demand workload wise. But with PGA, XFL, and NBA right now, and coming off of NFL, there was just no way I can put out a course for the NBA. Oh, I just got this new chair. Pieces are moving. Chris or Miles Turner? I'll take Turner factoring in price. Draymond is back. No Chris for me. He is going to eat a lot of you down. He is going to let a lot of you down. Hey, look, I have really no interest in Chris. Chris ranks out as my 27th play of the slate on a 4-game slate where I have, let me tell you how many players I have in a player pool right now. I have 34 players in a player pool, and he's 27th in that player pool, so I'm not going to get to much. Hey, Sal, Shake/Whiteside or CP3 and Chris? Shake/Whiteside. What about Melo? Melo looks fine today. Melo for me today ranks out as my 8th overall play in the slate, having for 30 fantasy points. What do you think about Justin Holiday as a pivot to TJ Warren? No interest in Justin Holiday for me. I have Justin Holiday graded out as my really bad 63rd play today. I've met 18.7 fantasy points. That's really bad at 4,800. AD and 2 other Lakers seems like the build. I think that's fine. Definitely fading that 65% FanDuel Tobias ownership. Tobias Harris. Yeah, I don't play on FanDuel. I don't like FanDuel for NBA, so I really can't make too much comments on that because my game theory over on FanDuel is going to be weak because I don't play there, because I don't like the fact that you can't late swap later on. And not only that you can't late swap later on, I don't care. I'll be paying attention. The problem is when there's a guy in a later game, like if AD was questionable today with LeBron out, there's going to be people like myself probably in a lot of, if it's a true 50-50, that don't take that risk and end up losing half of your entry fees or even more of them. But then there's going to be people who do take that risk. So no matter what, you're shit out of luck that night, because if he does play, you don't have him, that's fine. But there's so many people who take the risks that you're probably not going to win any tournament. So you're banking on the 50-50 status of players at that point. Whereas on DraftKings, obviously, you can just pivot to them later on, right? So that's why I don't like FanDuel. People always ask me, why don't you cover FanDuel for the sports? I don't cover it for NBA and WNBA, and that spans 9 months of the year, so it just translates to me not covering them for NFL. I'm fading AD. I mean, yeah, he can get you 50-plus a game, but so can White, Randall, Sabonis, etc. I'm just saying paying up isn't always the move. Paying up's not always the move, but when he's the only pay-up option, it becomes the move. I understand the people who want to fade him. I do think it's very cute tonight. I think it's really cute tonight. I have AD for 56.64 fantasy points. My next closest projected player is 12 fantasy points less, or 11 fantasy points less. His floor is still higher than everybody else's projection in my model right now. So when one player's floor is higher than anybody else's median projection, it's usually a get cute night if you fade him. And if it works out for you, in my opinion, it wasn't the right move, even if it works out. What does that mean? Sal, it worked out? No. If you make this decision to fade AD on 1,000 times, you will lose money more than you make it based on what this is telling me. Can he get hurt? Yes, but that's not you getting smart. That's you getting lucky, in my opinion. RJ or Korkmaz on FanDuel. Don't really know their prices, to be honest with you. If this was DraftKings, I would take Korkmaz. Melo or Schroeder? Yeah, that's a really good question, Melo or Schroeder. So it's different positionality. At the different positionality, it starts to become difficult. But if you can just pick either of them, say you have the flexibility right now, between Melo and Schroeder, I think I would take Melo. They're probably going to come in similarly owned. I have Melo for like a hat. Look, it depends on what your lineup is. If you already have McCollum in it, then go Schroeder. If you have no Thunder, then maybe go Schroeder there. If you have no Trailblazers, maybe go to Melo. Like, I don't want Melo if I already have Whiteside and or McCollum. It's just a 4-game slate, and it's so close. So Schroeder for me right now, I have Schroeder at 29.85 fantasy points, and I have Carmelo Anthony at 30.41. So it's really a coin flip at that point. It really looks like what the rest of your lineup looks like. Schroeder is, I don't want to say the safer play, but if you're looking for a guy to not get 18 fantasy points today, that's Schroeder, where Melo can easily get that if he's just not knocking down shots because he's not the greatest of rebounders or assists or any of that. Is Bobby Portis a good GPP play? I don't think so. Like, the run he got last night, I don't think is sustainable. I have him at 20 minutes. It doesn't look that good. Whiteside or Turner? Please answer. Whiteside by a mile, but he's also $3,000 more expensive. What do you think of SGA tonight? He's my 5th favorite Thunder, so not somebody I'm going to get to. Look, SGA is your stereotypical GPP play. He's probably not going to be highly owned tonight, and he can get hot. I have him at 36 fantasy points. It makes him an unattractive play. He's not in my player pool right now, but he's somebody that, can get hot. The issue with him getting hot, though, is that it happens once a month, not like once a week. So you're not trying to catch lightning in a bottle, and you're getting lucky often. You're literally getting like 3 or 4 huge SGA games a year, and they'll break GPP slates, like when he went for 20 and 20 or whatever it was in that one game, 20, 20, and 10 or whatever it was. So what's the most salary you're willing to leave on the table while making your roster? On a 4-game slate, I mean, if you like your lineup and you got like $600 left over, I think that's fine. Once you start getting to like $1,000 in NBA, even on a 4-game slate, it seems like a lot. Does JaVale go from 14 to 20 minutes with James out? No. JaVale, the front court's minutes shouldn't change. You still have JaVale splitting the center minutes with Howard, and then AD getting like 5 or 6 there. You still have Kuzma. Now Markieff Morris going to pick up the rest of the 4 minutes. Kuzma some at the 3. LeBron being out affects point per minute wise because guys like JaVale and Dwight Howard are not going to be on the court with him, but overall minutes is not really going to be affected. The minutes that are going to be affected are Rondo's, Caruso's, Danny Green maybe, Avery Bradley, KCP picking up 1 or 2, right? So the center's minutes and AD's minutes are not going to go up by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. LeBron plays at the point more times than not, and if he's not, he's playing at small forward, and that's not for most parts of the game, and that doesn't affect the centers anyways in terms of minutes. Schroeder and Kuzma or RJ Barrett and Horford. I really like Horford, so I'm gonna have to go there. Who would be your core for? Who would be core for tonight, Sal? I don't have any cores, so I can't help you there. Tons of big injuries on a small slate. I agree. I'm probably going to stay on for like another 5 minutes. Then if people want to go head over to the Awesome stream, I would urge you to do that. If you do want to click the link down below to Fantasy Drafts contest tonight, even if you don't want to play over there, although I urge you that you should, especially if you're playing low stakes, single entries, 3 maxes, smaller contest fields, and or cash, you're just not spending 15% of your income on rake, so or your bankroll. So yeah, I would check it out. Click the link below. Either way, it does help. And also follow me on Twitter. How many people are live on this? I'm going to imagine like 20 people are watching this live. What about Milton from 76ers? I think he looks good. Alec Burks is a really interesting sleeper play for GPPs tonight. Like they haven't been giving him minutes. So like I'm projecting him only at, I think 20 minutes tonight. So that's not good by any means. But Alec Burks is also not going to have any ownership. So if he just ends up playing 20 and goes off and scores 25 fantasy points, that's great. If he plays 26 tonight, that's obviously fantastic. So I think Burks is one of the better GPP plays tonight. That being said, don't come back to me tomorrow and say, Sal, you said he was one of the better plays tonight. Factoring in ownership, he's unowned. He's unowned for a reason. He's very risky. More times than not, he's not going to make out for you tonight. But in a GPP, if he's unowned, that's the spot you want to take a risk on. Why Noel? You have him so high. I'm not going to get a lot of Noel tonight, but he's going to play 18 minutes. He's a 1.1 fantasy point per minute producer. I don't have him high. This is how he projects out. He's cheap. If you're talking, I have him projected for 18 fantasy points. That's not high. That's not a lot of fantasy points. When he's 33, if he was 3,800, he would not grade out high if you're sorting it by value. When he's $3,300, 18 fantasy points grades out as 5.59x. So he's only a maybe for me. I'm not going to have 100% Noel. I'm not going to have anywhere near that number. Let's see, factoring in his ownership, Nerlens Noel is going to come in. Nerlens Noel is going to barely be owned tonight, so I will have higher than his single-digit ownership. But that's not by much. He's 3,300. Thanks, have a good rest of your day and good luck. Thank you, you too. 1.6 multiplier Horford or 1.55 Adams, 1.6 Horford. Yeah, if you want to sign up on SuperDraft, you can use the promo code SAL now. I actually just got the email before I came on, but I believe it gets you the similar $20 for free in Super Cash, so you can check that out, promo code SAL, S-A-L, over there. I have a tracking link, but I believe I'm not allowed to be putting that into YouTube chats, otherwise I might get banned, so I'm just not going to do that right now. But, yeah. I do have a tracking code, so I'm going to try and get that out on Twitter tomorrow. But yeah, probably tomorrow's XFL video will be sponsored by SuperDraft, so you can track. I'll post stuff on Twitter as well, so make sure to follow me there. But yeah, try and use the promo code SAL if you want to even make a brand new account to take advantage of it. I'm not going to condone that, but I said it. How many players is too much to have in one game? One game? I mean, one team. I only want 3, maybe 4 on some teams tonight, with the Sixers being the exception. But in one game, it depends. Like if you're going to be playing guys from the 76ers game and have 3 or 4 of them and you want to play Nick, I don't really like the Knicks. I would say like I don't like much of Golden State, so I'm not going to have much there. I don't know, like 3 or 4 from the same game. I don't really have a strong stance on that tonight. Is Fox a good play if he plays? If he's out, is Joseph a top play? Joseph will look good if he starts at 3,100. Fox is a okay play. I'm not as high on him as a lot of people tonight, though. Rondo is going to be crazy owned. He should be. Hi, Sal. Will you do MLB? I'm thinking about it. Let me know feedback for the people who want me to do MLB like I did last year. I did a podcast like daily every day on MLB with data sheets. The daily podcast along with the daily video for MLB is just not going to happen. That's too much of a workload for the background projects that I have coming for the NFL season. But I do want to do MLB every morning, still a video. I just need something to make the videos worth it. I can have third-party advertisements, but something on Patreon, maybe just projections for the MLB and rankings, something that is not as more demanding as a 30 to hour-long podcast each day after the other one. TJ Warner, Carmelo. Give me Carmelo. If it's a blowout, do you see AD paying off his salary? I honestly don't know how to answer those questions. Like, if it's a blowout at halftime and they're up by 30, probably not. If it's a blowout and there's only like 6 minutes left before it blows out and he's already played 30 minutes and has 60 fantasy points, yeah, he paid it off. Noel, high ownership? No, he's barely owned. He's at like 4% projected. Sal's the man. That's why he's the fastest growing guy in DFS today. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Where are you getting ownership projections? I use about 3 different third-party sites, but I will say that Awesomos are the best. I'm a contractor for Awesemo, and they have the best NBA ownership projections. I use like 5 different sites for PGA. I like to just kind of get an idea of where it is. For NBA, I'll primarily use Awesemo. I would recommend them. And then for MLB, Awesemo is pretty good. And then NFL, I use like 5 different sites. Sal, who are you high on tonight? Yeah, so if you guys want to see my actual projections over on Patreon, that's linked up down below. But who am I high on tonight? Horford, Rondo, Shake Milton, Anthony Davis. Those guys. Nice hat. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right, cool. I think I'm about to be done. Yes, MLB, somebody says. Yeah, MLB would be nice. Feel like there isn't a lot of covering it. You could be at top of that. I did the MLB all year last year. It was fun for the first month or two, and then it just drained, especially once the NFL preseason started in August. So that's my problem. Like, I can do it in May and June and parts of July, and it just starts to become so repetitive. NBA is fun and refreshing because every day players are injured. It keeps you on your toes. MLB, you're running out the same lineup and same pitchers every 5 days. It's the exact same slate with pretty much the same salaries. You think it's too tough to get AD and Whiteside in the same lineup on DK? I do not. MLB is also dying, boring, and way too much work. Yeah, MLB is not a lot of work. It's the easiest DFS sport in terms of how you prep for it. You stack a bunch of players from the same team. You obviously play 2 pitchers that hopefully have a good strikeout rate against teams that strike out and swing and miss often. And you're really just playing 5-3s, 5-1-1s, 5-2s, 4-3-1s, stacks. That's it. It's the easiest to just build lineups for because it's the procedure to winning. You just stack heavily, similar to the NHL. Glad to see you doing well. Been watching your videos from the beginning. I appreciate you. 1.6 multiplier for Horford or 1.55 for Adams. Give me Horford there. All right, I think I'm going to bounce. Yeah, so for the people who said MLB, reach out to me in the comments of this video or Twitter, whatever it is, and just give me what you would like to see. Last year I did a video for 10 to 15 minutes every single morning, and I really just broke down pitchers because I don't have the lineups early in the morning. I don't have a lot of the Vegas odds. I'm not going position by position for that. That's way too much work. But if you know how the pitcher is and you know that they're bad against lefties, well, then I'll say, well, these guys, if they're lefties for the Twins tonight, you should be playing those lefties. Things like that. If they don't get high swings and misses on their certain pitches and there's good hitters in that lineup that hit the curveball, whatever, I will call that out. But I'm not going to go first base, second base. I'm just not going to do that early in the mornings. It doesn't work out. If you're doing a show before lock, yeah, it ends up working out then, but it's just not going to work out for me doing it in the morning. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in today. Before you leave, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Check me out over on Twitter. And then if you want the projections for NBA and also XFL tiers and now rankings, I'm going to be ranking them based on GPP and or cash value. So thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, before you leave, be sure to hit the subscribe and the like button. And yeah, appreciate it. We'll have more videos tomorrow, XFL and XFL and NBA video tomorrow. Heading into the weekend, I'll be doing some XFL live streams as well as some NBA content. So peace out, gang. Best of luck. And if any late breaking news happens, I'll be sure to update the projections. See ya.